right, Sarah, welcome back to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. This is a welcome back. I know you've been on here at least one time before, actually a couple times before.
Yeah, maybe 10.
Well, I wanted to bring you on to talk about words of the year. I wanted to talk about this past 2025 was kind of a year for the record books for a lot of things. I feel like there were so many things that didn't make sense, but there was also one of the most transformational growth years that I've ever experienced in my 44 years on this planet.
Same.
Being faced with like talk about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, talking about facing experiences that are going to cause you to say, no, this is actually what I want. Like there's been so many different things. And I feel like it's not just me, not just you. There's been a lot of people that 2025 has just been a weird year.
Like a shift. I feel like everybody is feeling it too. Everyone is feeling like, oh my gosh, something's different, something's changing. Change is also good. Pivoting's good. Doesn't always have to be bad. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable. Discomfort's always, it's uncomfortable, but sometimes it's going to be something that's going to set you up for success.
Yes. Your setbacks can be your setups. And
Absolutely.
so you feel like, okay, this big thing happened, or how am I going to overcome whatever obstacle? Whether it's, how am I using AI, or client purchasing behavior is not the same. I feel like I'm doing everything right, but nothing is working. And that's because it's not the same as it was even just 6 months ago, right? We're in a new era where we're having to test, and the spas and businesses that are incorporating, that are testing, that are incorporating AI, that are incorporating all of these different things, they're moving fast.
Yeah.
Moving
And
real
moving
fast.
fast is good. Sometimes moving fast is good. You got to be able to adapt quickly.
For sure. So for me, I chose open as my word of the year. And for words of the year, I've done this for years, and it really is just to kind of set a tone. I don't do a lot of resolutions. I set out kind of guidelines for the year, or focuses for the year, things that are important to me in this particular season. But the overarching theme is just being open, because I want to be open to new possibilities. I want to be open to new partnerships. I want to be open to new ways of doing things. When we bought the farm, I am a beginner in so many things. I'm like, oh, we have an agricultural zone.
Right.
You can't just like throw seeds in the ground and then they magically grow. It's
You
like,
have a boat.
I have
I
a
know.
boat.
It's great though. It's
I
so
don't know how to
great.
drive it.
I know. We'll figure it out. But again, that's being open. Being open is important because it's something new. It's something that you've wanted. And it's also great to have an open mindset around things that are changing or new. And it is a lot of fun and it's beautiful.
I think especially, it's been 20 years for me that I've been in this industry. And when you are in an industry or in business for a certain period of time, it's kind of like, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Or this is how it's always been done. Or
Yeah.
this is what's always worked in the past. And that whole way of thinking kind of got smashed.
Yeah.
There are like customer service, right? There's principles that we have to
Yeah.
adhere to, like service.
Protocols. Yeah.
Yes. There's things like that are obviously not smashed on its head, but we can't be doing the same client acquisition strategies.
Mm.
Um, there's things like that we really have to be clear on, like, hey, if this is not working, I've got to pivot and I've got to try something different and move.
And if you
So,
try something different and then what worked before seems to be the answer, that's also tried and true, then you can go back to it. There's definitely no harm in trying something new. And if it doesn't work, that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur as well. That's what makes it so much fun.
so what is your word of the year
Resiliency, I would say. Yes.
and why resiliency?
I am very much a person, anybody who knows me or anybody listening who's getting to know me, I am very much a person that I can be thrown a lot onto my plate and I can adapt, not react, and I can push through. And I don't mean in like the extreme ownership way, even though I am not opposed to that. I'm
I
a
can see me and you doing some push-ups. We'll
yes,
read a book and we'll be like, let's do some push-ups.
right. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I do maybe crunches, but I don't know about push up. My arms hurt from doing facials, to be perfectly honest. But
Oh, fair enough.
I'm
Fair enough.
definitely somebody who I enjoy being thrown different obstacles. I'm not searching for them, so I'm not putting that out into the universe. But I like to reframe how I'm looking at something like, what is this teaching me? And how can I grow from it? And how many things in life are temporary, opposed to how many things in life it can feel like so hard and so bad, but maybe it's just a lesson. So that's why I think for me, my word would be resiliency because I just
You
keep
figure it
on
out.
moving
You get back up after you've been knocked down. There
always.
was no other like so we have a group text thread
Mhm.
and there's Fab Five Plus. It's our
Yes.
group text thread. And it's a very active text thread. And can you tell the deer story?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I had so we'd like to do a mix of pictures and we like to do a mix of audio messages or just plain old texting, right? We have such a variety in there. Some of us are more audio, it depends. Well, I sent an audio this day. I was like almost home and I was like, oh my gosh, guys, I don't even know what I'm going to be walking into, but all I know is that I just got a phone call. A deer ran through my house and I left it at that and I didn't.
Can you please also tell people where you live? Because
I live
you
on
don't
a
live in
main
the
I live on a main road, so my house is on a main road across the street from like a daycare and a bank and a water tower. Absolutely zero
a
lines.
very busy city environment. It is not you're not out in like country fields
No, and it came
in Jersey.
charging
Yeah.
New Jersey, like, and yeah, they came charging through essentially to set the tone. I was out at the grocery store. My husband and my children and my dogs were at home, and I had this really instinct feeling. I was actually talking to I don't talk to myself in public, but I talked to myself in public and I was like, I need to go home. I had this gut instinct. I was like, I have to go home. Now, I didn't leave my groceries there, but I did check them out. I got home within probably a minute of me being from my house. I got a phone call from my daughter telling me that I had to come home. Then my husband drove up into my house and there was a police officer already outside because there is like a restaurant bar area across the street from me. They're always stationed over there. Walk up. What would you think if like your child, my daughter's 14 years old, a deer came? I'm thinking they hit the mailbox. I'm thinking something simplistic. And I get there, there's glass everywhere. And like, disclaimer also, it bumped its face into a closed storm door and door. So clearly its face was bloody from bashing through the glass. And then it lost an antler in the process. It was storm, the ring camera didn't even pick it up. So, but picked it up going out. So essentially what happened was my husband was sitting there minding his business. The deer came through, went through our entire downstairs. Thank goodness that my husband was not injured. My children happened to be upstairs, and my dogs, I have two cattle dogs, and they went to work. Their job is to herd, and my one helped to get it out, and my husband was trapped in the room with it and got it out. Luckily it just ran out the same way it came in. But the aftermath of it, I mean, I think we do this in life, right? You sit there and you say to yourself, oh my gosh, this could have happened. Or I'm feeling guilt because I was at the grocery store. I'm feeling like, thank goodness, I was so grateful nothing happened besides things being disrupted. Nobody got hurt. Yes, the things got damaged, but all the girls know, especially, I reframed it. I was like, guess who gets to redecorate?
But that's why like resiliency is such a great word for you. And I love that story for 2025 because 2025 was just a year of weird, right? There were so many things that didn't make sense and you're just like, all right, let's reframe this. Let's retry this. And in business, that is like a spa CEO superpower is being able to reframe if things don't work. It's like I actually just said this on a call with our Growth Factor Elite members is that being an entrepreneur is your greatest lesson in personal development apart from having children. And that's because we're constantly solving problems. We're constantly pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone. We're constantly, um, it,
Being judged in a way, especially with clientele or how
yeah,
we're maybe running
yeah.
our employees or something like that as well. Or
There's all these types of things that you have to have a self-awareness, you have to have a confidence in yourself, a belief in yourself, and that's a skill to be able to develop that. And resiliency also is a skill because if you're in the business long enough, there's going to be plenty of times that you want to quit. And
absolutely, I think that
if you're I mean, it's like things can get hard, things can be challenging. And sometimes it feels easier to just quit. And, after a year like this, and I don't want to sound doom and gloom because I have talked to so many incredible spa owners that are just knocking it out of the park. There are some people that I'm just like, wow, like they're inspiring to me of the things that they're doing, and gives me so much hope and positivity of really great things happening in the industry right now. So it's not all doom and gloom. Um, but there are like new things that we're doing. We are figuring out AI. We are dealing with consumer uncertainty. We are dealing with a new way that we have to get in front of people, right? And all of that takes a lot of work, especially if you already had systems set up. And we all also deal with life that sometimes involves a deer running through your.
I had to call. I'm a big person where I don't like, so I'm still practicing within my spa, and I have this very big thing where I will not cancel clients unless it's absolutely necessary. If there's an emergency, or obviously if I was sick or something like that. And I remember sitting there being like, I'm going to have to message my clients, and I'm honest with them. We build relationships. And I remember sitting there being like, this is unbelievable that I am sending this message to tell them that I can't see them because I have to have all these inspectors and people come out to my house. And you know what? Like, people just come with compassion. And I think that we are so hard on ourselves as entrepreneurs and business owners, or even as estheticians, because we're of service to people we want to help. Um, but we're building something that's so beautiful and people are so understanding. So even when we change and we pivot or we have life happens, right? It really just lets you see too when bad stuff does happen, who does show up for you.
But I think that that's built into the culture of your spa. And you're also like, your personal identifying beliefs. Like, how do you live your life? You live your life with transparency, with openness, with integrity, right? And you've got to make sure that that comes through so that when you do call to cancel, when there's a legitimate emergency, that's the reaction that you get. Because if you don't honor that in business and in your personal life, then you would not be getting that same reaction. And so,
Right.
creating that culture, creating that
Acceptance.
understanding of like your own personal belief system for people to have that trust in you, I think is a really important skill. And with our two words of openness and resiliency, They actually pair so nicely together because when you do try new things, you are going to mess up. Some of them are not going to work, and that's okay, right? You
Yeah,
have to have the
that's
resiliency to get back up. And I think that for 2026, I am fully like, I am so ready for 2026. I think it's going to be an incredible year. I feel so positive about it. I feel like 2025 for me was a lot of gaining clarity and having a
figuring it
deeper
out.
understanding of myself and my desires and my abilities. And, I finally got really clear over the summer of what works for me and what makes me genuinely happy and what makes me motivated. Um,
Which is really, honestly, you should really be grateful that you took the time to do that for yourself. Like your future self is going to be so happy with your 2025 self that you took the time to do that, because a lot of us will kind of keep on going, and you had like this instinct that you needed to disrupt,
yeah.
change.
But
And
I think that for us to be able to give and for us to
yes,
be able to lead, right? If we are a CEO leading our company or if we are giving to our clients, if we're not filling our cup first, if we're not making sure that we are happy and fulfilled and meeting our needs, then we're not going to be able to serve at the highest level. And
and
that's
people
not
can feel
fair.
it. People
Yeah.
can feel it.
They can feel it. So I believe that our businesses are so much more elastic than we realize. I
Hmm.
think that, one thing is not going to be the end all be all, right? Like everything is possible. And I believe that to the core of who I am. And yes, I took time to reset. I took time to restructure. Um, and now, yes, I'm also so proud of, I spent 2.5 years learning AI and all the things that go with it. And
Which is great.
if
Which
I
is
didn't take that time to really dive into the deep end and understand how to use it on a much deeper level than just like write me a social media post, which is
or a
now,
meal plan, like what would be the best? But it's great for that too.
yeah,
But
but like using it on a really strategic level and how we're going to apply it in spa so that you can have more time, which again is your most valuable asset, right?
time
Um,
is so important, and to making sure you understand your why or what you're doing so that you can customize to be able to apply AI properly. If you don't know what you're doing, that's okay, but definitely try to deep dive on it.
mhm. Yeah. So, as we move into 2026, um, I am open to new things. I am open to new possibilities. I am open to messing up because I put myself out there. I'm open to all of the things that are helping me to be the best version of myself. And so I will have that. I'll put that on my wall here. It'll be something that I see regularly and keep kind of as a theme going into 2026. I'm sure you'll do the same with resiliency, but it's just a great practice if you don't do a word of the year to think about like what's important for you in the coming year. What's the thing that you want to focus on in a particular season? Um, and just keep it top of mind. I'm not someone that does a lot of, New Year's resolutions or any, but I want like a theme of the coming year. So,
Yeah. I mean, or we could do our, we did, and you did intentions last year.
so I did like personal guidelines. I did
Mhm.
like
They were
a list
great.
of 10 guidelines that I wanted to live my life by
Yeah.
in the coming year. Yes. And those were really important. And I had them written in a notebook. I posted that in our chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's great.
I had them in a notebook and they were part of my morning practice where, if you do gratitude in the morning or like whatever it is that you do to kind of get your mind in the right place, that was something that I was reading over and over because those guidelines were the type of person that I wanted to become.
Yeah, which is
And
amazing. And if you don't know, and if somebody doesn't know, I remember when I saw that and I was like, wow, this is really great because I never
it was
personally,
deep. It
it
was
was very deep. And I also know that for myself, I keep a lot in my mind because my memory is good, but there's something about putting it on paper or even if it's typing it out and reflecting on it and actually taking the time for yourself to do it, to honor your future self, that is so special.
hmm yeah. So as we're in December, there's a lot of, closing the loop, end of year type of energy that's going on. There's going to be a lot of New Year's resolutions, a lot of planning for the coming year. Just reflect on what you want 2026 to, what 2025 was for you, what you want 2026 to look like, and what is your, word of the year is a great kind of overall theme, something that can help you through the good times and through the bad times in business, because the journey is such an important part of the whole process.
Yeah, it's so great.
All right. Thank you, Sara, for being here and talking about words of the year and all of that fun stuff. I wish everybody an incredible December, an incredible holiday season, lots of time with your loved ones and your families. And of course, incredible business success. We'll catch you on the next episode. Quick reminder before you leave. If your spa growth still depends on you doing more, it's time for a shift. Watch The System Shift, a free training designed to help spa owners break past that $25,000 to $35,000 month plateau without adding more treatment hours. You'll learn the CEO level systems that help you scale while protecting your time, your values, and your peace. Go to grow.addoaesthetics.com/podcast and watch The Systems Shift. That's grow.addoaesthetics.com/podcast.